These elastic waisted pants can be made in any medium weight fabric. I have used a red chambray, but you can make it in any stable fabric. A lightweight denim would be a really good idea. You could even do it in a print or a floral or a stripe. If you're going to do it in a stripe, make sure you match your stripes at the side seam. There's nothing worse than stripes in a pant that don't match at the side seam. Notch all your seam allowances, pocket positions and waist elastic casing positions and hems, etc. By doing this, you will be able to see your seam allowances and positions when the pattern pieces are removed. Using the notches for the pocket positions on the front and back leg pieces, pin the 4 pocket bags into position with right sides together. Repeat this step on both sides. Stitch from the top of each pocket bag to the notch that determines the pocket opening. You'll see this notch on the pocket bag clearly down the side seam. Trim your threads as you sew for a neater finish. Repeat this step on both sides. Now place the front pocket over the back pocket with wrong sides together and stitch using up half the seam allowance. Turn this through so you have the right sides together and stitch. This encloses the raw edges of the pocket bag and is a type of French seam. Pin the side seams of the back and front pant together, matching the notches for the elastic casing. Stitch to the pocket bag, making sure you keep the seam allowance away from your sewing line. You will finish stitching at the seam allowance notch at the top of the pocket bag. Now pin the outside legs together from the pocket balance mark through to the hem. Neaten the seam allowance and top stitch if desired. You don't need to neaten above the pocket bag as this is enclosed in the elastic casing. Make sure you press all your seams as you go because you will achieve a much more professional outcome and a much better finish to your garment. If you're going to top stitch, make sure you top stitch with the seam allowance under your top stitching. Otherwise you lose the depth of the top stitching and it isn't as effective. It's probably a good idea to use the foot as a guide to the width of your top stitching. It gives you something to work from. You could use contrast thread for your top stitching if you like, and you could have one row of top stitching or two. With right sides together, pin and stitch the inside leg seams. Neaten these seams and press. They can be neatened together if you like. Use an overlocker if you have one. Now match your inside leg seams by pinning them together. Stitch from the centre back to the centre front to join the two legs together. Neaten this seam by overlocking or zigzagging, and you can either do this separately or together. Now press and fold the waistband casing into position. Use a tape measure to make sure that your casing is accurate. You can see that I'm folding the seam allowance over and not just neatening the edge. This will give you a much neater finish at the waistband. Stitch on the edge and finish by leaving an opening of 5 centimetres to thread the elastic through. Measure the required amount of elastic to fit comfortably. When you measure the elastic, if you're putting it around your own waist, don't have it too tight and make sure you allow for the elastic to overlap by 2 centimetres. Using a large safety pin or something similar, thread the elastic through the opening in the waistband. Overlap the elastic and stitch to secure. Make sure you secure it properly using a zigzag stitch to hold the elastic together. Pull the waistband to completely enfold the elastic and finish stitching to close the waistband opening. Now to the hem. Neaten and measure up and pin the hem using a tape measure for accuracy. Stitch this into position. Now you can press your final garment.